Hi there, welcome back to Paying IT Forward, where we look to demystify IT for businesses and professionals. I'm your host, Obi, and today we'll be talking about the value delivery chain. Now, why is the value delivery chain important? So if you are a senior executive at a business, probably the CEO or the CTO or even the head of solutions, and you've noticed any relevant signs that you do not have an effective operating strategy. I've actually done a video about this, which I'll link in the comment in the description. So please check that out. But if you've noticed any signs that you don't have an effective operating strategy, for example, if you're not able to establish an operating operational roadmap, or your operational roadmap is not very reliable, or you're very reactive as a business, things are sort of coming up from anywhere, like unwanted events, and you can't see it coming. Or perhaps you don't have good governance in your business. You don't have good data-driven governance or process-driven governance in your business. These are signs you need to review your operating strategy, and a great place to start from on a strategic level for these sort of considerations is by establishing your value delivery chain. So this video is going to talk about all the reasons why establishing your value delivery chain is going to be useful to you as a business. So stick around to the end of the video to find out all those reasons, and I'm sure it'll be worth your time. Thank you. So the first thing we're going to talk about is the value delivery chain. I think a very good way to look at the value delivery chain is that it is the highest level of abstraction that allows you to segment your operating model, and more importantly, segment your operating model from a customer-centric perspective, which is key. You always want to keep the customer at the center of everything you're doing as a business or as an organization. So what does that really mean? Now, a lot of times, senior executives find it very difficult to have effective conversations about their operating model. So for example, if there's discussions about executing or initiating some sort of digital transformation or optimizing a part of the business operating model, that conversation can become very overwhelming and difficult to have effectively because it's difficult to define a scope for that conversation. Things can become overly complex and complicated because naturally, especially with the business especially depending on the size or complexity of your business, these conversations can become increasingly difficult. Because you have instances where you have one business system that cuts across multiple parts, multiple business functions, multiple departments. So you can't really have conversations about your operating model from a technology or system perspective. It's not optimal to do it that way. You also have business functions that cut across multiple stages in your customer cycle. So it's difficult to have conversations about your operating model from that perspective as well. I think the best example to use for this is, probably where you're trying to define the scope for a project you have in your operating roadmap, and defining that scope can be very difficult. Like it could be very difficult to establish your specific goals and objectives for that project because, like I said, everything is connected to everything, and it can be overwhelming. And this is exactly what your value delivery chain allows you to do. It allows you to have scoped conversations, segmented conversations about your operating model from a customer-centric perspective. Now, within your value delivery chain, you have sequential value activities that would map directly to the stages in your customer cycle. So if you can map out the intended stages that you want your customer to experience or go through when interacting with your business, you would have a value activity that maps directly to each stage. And the combination of all these value activities make up your value delivery chain. And it's that simple. I hope that makes sense. So you would have your value delivery chain that is made up of value activities, and each value activity would be mapped to one stage in your customer cycle. And each value activity would encompass all the elements of your operating model that enables you to create that value within your customer cycle, or to create that experience within your customer cycle. And this is why the value delivery chain is customer centric. It allows you to be customer centric. It allows you to align customer value to your operating model. It allows you to align customer value to internal efficiencies, and that's one of the reasons is very, very important. So it's that simple. I hope I hope that makes sense. So let's quickly run through two major reasons why the value delivery chain is very useful for discussing your operating model, or executing your operating strategy. Now, the first thing I would mention is that it is pretty comprehensive, and it is holistic. It's a holistic approach. So within each value activity, you are considering all the business functions, all the third parties, all the suppliers that could potentially, or that potentially allow you to create an experience or a particular value for your customers within your customer cycle, within the customer cycle stage that value activity is mapped to. So it avoids you working or looking at your operating model in a limited way. It avoids you considering your operating strategy in silos, from a department perspective, or perhaps looking at it from a technology perspective, from business systems, which isn't optimal. You kind of want to avoid doing that. So that's the first reason I would say the value delivery chain is, very useful. Now, so the second reason why your value delivery chain is quite relevant is because of the sequential nature of the value activities within your value delivery chain, and the fact that each value activity is mapped to a stage in your customer cycle. And the reason for that is that it gives you a good appreciation of dependencies when executing your operational roadmap. So when you have your customer cycle, you can appreciate the fact that in order for you to enable or to be successful at stage 4 of your customer cycle, you have to pay attention to the outputs of stage 3 in your customer cycle. And when you're mirroring that directly with your value activities, it allows you to understand the dependencies between projects. So if you're having projects in value activity 4, you understand that for projects in value activity 4 to be successful, you probably need to have executed projects in value activity 3, or you need to be aware of the dependencies with value activity 3. So it gives you that perspective when prioritizing your roadmap, which is key and valuable for continuous improvement and the evolution of your operating model and executing your operating strategy. I hope that makes sense. Thank you for watching today's video. I hope you've enjoyed the content. Today we've spoken about the value delivery chain and why it's a very good starting point for you to have effective and scoped conversations about your operating strategy and ways to optimize your operating model. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and also engage in the comment section. Like I always say, it's very useful for me to understand how you engage with the content or how you feel about the content, so I can find ways to improve the content and make it more valuable to you. So don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and engage. And also remember, it's PITF with OB on all social media platforms. So please reach out and engage across all social media platforms. Until next time, take care.